Two things I just love about Tawaro is the compelling side characters in the amazing power system. Tawaro has some of the most unique abilities and characters I've seen. For example, Accelerator in his vector manipulation, Kakina in his dark matter. But today we're not talking about them. Today we're talking about one of my personal favorite characters, Mugano Shizuri, and her Esper power known as Meltdowner. But before we get into the what if, hey, I'm Kai. If you like anime, games, cartoons, and what ifs, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'd really appreciate it. But without further delay, let's get into the what if. Our story begins after the birth of Izuku Midoriya. He would be born at his family's personal hospital. He's beautiful. Too bad he barely took any of my looks, Inko would say while giggling and crying tears of joy. What do you mean? He looks just like you. All he has is my hair and eyes. A mysterious voice would utter from a dark corner of the hospital room. What are you lurking back there for? Just come here and look at him, Hisashi. He's your son too. Reluctantly, the man would proceed to Inko and his son. When he approached, the darkness that veiled him would be consumed with light and would reveal a tall, reddish-brown-haired man with piercing brown eyes. Hisashi, looking at his wife and son, would smile. With a single tear would fall, but only for a second. I'm sorry, but I have to go. The business can't run itself. I'll see you, Hisashi exclaimed with a firm tone, but with a hint of sadness. Inko would understand and tell Hisashi she can take care of their son, and he can get back to work, only if he takes breaks in between to spend time with her and their son. Hisashi would agree and proceed to take his leave. Outside the door, Hisashi would assign a security detail to his family's hospital room. Then he proceeded to order the doctors to stay vigilant to make sure nothing would ever happen to his family. After barking orders to employees, Hisashi would exit the building and enter a limo, and would tell the driver to head to the company. He has business to handle. Izuku's upbringing would be very different, especially because of his father. Izuku's dad, Hisashi Midoriya, would be the owner and CEO of the Midoriya Family Corporation. The Midoriya family would be one of the five most wealthiest families in not just Japan but the world. They gained their wealth through wheat farming and production, but in secret, the Midoriya family would be running the hugest criminal enterprise in the world. They would commit various crimes like theft, murder, robbery, and money laundering, and many more. Izuku would be destined to inherit this company. After all, it's his legacy. We would time skip to when Izuku would be 5 years old. Hisashi would be busy most of the time, so Izuku would mostly be raised by his mother. But Hisashi would always make time and pop in now and then, so it wasn't like he was absent. Izuku and Inko would also have their own personal butler, named Mujinayama. Izuku would still look up to All Might, but not to the degree that he would in the original. He would actually look up to his father more. He would admire how respected and powerful he is. Even with this change, Izuku would still want to be a hero, but his family wouldn't know that. Because of Izuku's different circumstances, he wouldn't go to the same school as Bakugo. He would actually go to a very prestigious private school with the kids of pro heroes and other wealthy families. Inko would be getting Izuku ready for school, just like any other day, but little did they know, this day would change their lives. Mujinayama, driving the limo, would stop to the curb beside the school, saying goodbye to young Master Izuku, and Inko would also say goodbye as well. Izuku, with a giant smile on his face, would say goodbye as well. But when Mujinayama and Inko pulled off, Izuku would have a tired and sad look on his face. It's just one day, Izuku would think to himself. Even though this school is filled with rich kids and children of pro heroes, there would still be bullies, just like any school. Izuku would be bullied for some weeks now, and he would have just been going along with what they say so they would leave him alone. But the bullying would never cease. But one day, Izuku reached his breaking point. He had had enough. During lunch, Izuku would be approached by some kids who would want to bully him. "Hey, wheat boy, give us some of your lunch money if you know it's good for you," one of them smugly remarked. Izuku's day would be officially ruined, if it wasn't already. Izuku would begin to gather his food and try to walk away, but one of the kids would trip him and Izuku would proceed to fall into his tray of food. The bullies and some other students would begin to laugh at him, and Izuku would look around for a teacher or some kind of adult for help, but the teachers wouldn't be paying attention. Of course, Izuku would think to himself, "Did you really think they'd help you? You're worthless. Why would they ever help the kid of some wheat farmers? Yeah, you don't even have a quirky loser. Yeah, your whole family's losers." The group of bullies would brutally chastise Deku and proceed to kick him. Izuku would burst into tears and think to himself, "Why me? Why today? I never did anything to them. So why me?" Izuku began to reminisce about something his father once told him. "Don't let anyone walk all over you. People will look at you and think you're weak and mock you and everything you stand for. They'll even insult your family, but when they do, don't give up. Fight back and show them your might." Izuku would begin to stand while drenched in food and milk. Izuku would whisper, "Take that back." "Huh? What was that? Speak up." The kids would begin to activate their quirks. One would have a weak wood quirk, and the other would have a mutation quirk that gave him 4 arms, and the last one would have a quirk that gave him some quills. "I said, take that back!" Izuku would bellow from the bottom of his soul. A strange green energy would emit from Izuku's body and eyes. The bullies would charge at Izuku, but Izuku, full of rage, would point his arm forward. A small beam of green energy would shoot out at the bullies. Izuku, just only unlocking his quirk, would miss, but it would cause the bullies to stop their charge and stare at the beam as it creates a hole throughout the school building. The 3 bullies would pass out and wet themselves at the showing of strength Izuku just did, but one word would leave their lips before they lost consciousness: monster. Due to Izuku's experience with his quirk, it would cause him minor injuries, as smoke would emanate from his body as he proceeded to pass out in the middle of the lunchroom floor. The teachers and staff, now noticing the altercation, they would gain their bearings and would notify the parents and the principal of this incident. After being notified about the incident, Inko and Hisashi would rush to the school, and they would be awestruck at the damages. "Oh my goodness, did our sweet Izuku really do this?" Inko would frantically say. Hisashi, on the other hand, would have a smirk for just a split second on his face and think to himself, "My son really did this. Incredible." When they entered the school in the front office, they would see Izuku, who would be injured and covered in his lunch, and the bullies with sully pants and clothes would have terrified looks. Inko would run to Izuku asking him, "Why, Izuku, did you really do this?" Izuku would look away ashamed. Inko proceeded to ask Izuku why. Izuku would explain his side of the story. While this was happening, Hisashi would look at the injuries on Izuku and the fear instilled into the other kids, and would be surprised and overcome with a sense of pride. Inko would be enraged and stormed into the principal's office with Hisashi in tow. They went into the principal's office and saw the principal and the parents of the 3 bullies. The 3 parents would be enraged, yelling at Hisashi and Inko, threatening to pull their funding from the school if they didn't expel Izuku. Inko would shout out at the parents of the bullies. The principal would mediate the situation, calming them down, and then proceeded to show the footage of the past few weeks of the kids bullying Izuku and then showing no fear of the repercussions because of their parents and because of the teachers lazily doing their jobs. Hisashi and Inko would remark that Izuku finally reached his breaking point and defended himself. They would even say that their children were acting more like villains than heroes. The parents would feel ashamed and embarrassed of their children's actions and would offer to pay for the damages, and were promised that an incident would never happen like this again. They would even force their children to apologize, not just to the principal, but they would force an apology to Izuku. All the kids would be suspended, but Izuku would have a lesser suspension than the others. We would time skip to Izuku being taken to the Midoriya family's personal hospital to have his quirk checked. But before he would have it tested, he would be cleaned and patched up. The doctor, after the test, would reveal that Izuku's quirk would be dubbed Meltdowner. His quirk gave Izuku the ability to take electrons and force them to stay in an unstable state between a particle and a wave, which allows Izuku to create a massive, huge energy beam that instantly melts and burns through almost anything. But the side effects would be terrible. If he doesn't hold himself back, he could destroy his body and possibly end up dead because of his own quirk. Hisashi and Inko would be stunned by the power of Izuku's quirk and his insane drawback. Inko would be frantically worrying about the side effects, but Hisashi would reassure her, saying he will train Izuku not to just control his powers but his emotions too. Hisashi would approach Izuku and ask him a question. What do you want to do with your power? Izuku would think to himself, I don't want to be weak. If I wasn't weak, those kids would have never tested me. Izuku would look at his father with fire in his eyes and with an unsurmountable resolve. He'd answer, I want power and respect. I want to be number one. Hisashi would grin ear to ear and say, that's my boy. Hisashi would begin to have Izuku train and mold him into the next leader of the organization. Once Izuku reached the age of 10, Hisashi would introduce him to the organization and what they do. Izuku would be taken aback by the truth of his father's work, but that wouldn't draw Izuku away. That only strengthened his resolve to take the burden of the organization and to be a hero. Izuku would be given his own mercenary group, consisting of 3 others who would be the same age as Izuku. Their names would be Takitsubo Riko, Hamazura Shige, and Kinuhata Sai. Tatsukibo was a black-haired girl with a pink tracksuit and black shorts, who had a tired look. Takitsubo's quirk would be called Stalker, which allows her to track anyone as long as she knows the target in their aura. Kinuhata would be a brown-haired girl with a bob cut and a fluffy knit sweater dress with striped socks. Kinuhata's quirk would be nitrogen armor. She's able to create a thin layer of nitrogen in a 360-degree barrier around herself. Hamazura would be an ordinary boy with unruly blonde hair and a piercing in his mouth. And the boy wore a brown zip-up hoodie with a white shirt underneath and blue jeans. Hamazura would be quirkless, but he would be trained in assassination and martial arts on weapons. This would be Izuku's squad, and they will be dubbed Item. And that is it for part 1 of What If Deku Had Meltdowner. Let me know what you guys think of it. This was my first time making a What If ever, so please don't be too harsh on me. And if you guys got any tips, I would really appreciate it. But thanks for watching the video. Like and subscribe if you want. But anyways, this is Kai signing off.